This is the AOC Sports High School Football Preview Show.
Broadcast week number 9 of the high school football season. Dan Brennan, only 2 regular season weeks remaining after tonight. Good evening, I'm Jim Cox. As I said, my partner Dan Brennan, as we get you ready for our matchup here tonight. 6A Region 1 battle. McGill-Toolen, we only saw them once in the first game of the year for them. And they are an entirely different football team than we saw that night against Saraland. And the Blount Leopards, who, they had trouble getting on the field because of COVID to start the season. And now they've been in some big, tight matchups. And now this should be a really good one here tonight between these two teams.
Yeah, I think so. Blount, of course, they had the misfortune of COVID on the other sideline.
Sure.
Partially. And they came into this season really looking forward to the 2020 season as much as you could. With a kind of a stacked roster. So we're going to be fortunate to get a chance to see them as maybe now they're going to start hitting their stride and getting it together, and McGill may be seeing them at the wrong time.
Yeah, so looking back to our game last week, UMS, we saw UMS again, and really dominant performance, a big win that, I think a lot of people thought they were going to come out and get after, but I think Terry Curtis has got to be pleased the way that game went against Satsuma. But we came out of Satsuma, that game against Satsuma, being real impressed with the direction that program's going and the leadership they got.
Yeah, they've got great leadership there, and I think that when you look over that team Satsuma, they're young. The program is not very young, but they're young in terms of trying to compete at a high level at 5A. So they're going to come along just fine. And Terry Curtis's bunch looks like they're turning into playoff form.
Yep, as they usually do at this time of the season. Dr. Chris Patton is with us here from AOC. I almost needed his services. I almost fell off the bar stool, so to speak here. That's a whole different type of injury that happens. You might hurt your meniscus falling off a bar stool, I guess, but that's probably not the reason you usually see people. But we hear about the ACL injuries a lot, but meniscus is also something you hear about in the knee for athletes and also for kind of the weekend warrior type athletes, right?
That's right. The meniscus, as you know, is a C-shaped cartilage. There's 2 of them in the knee, and those are very important in stabilizing the knee and cushioning. So any kind of twisting, loading type of injury, even of a bar stool, can tear your meniscus.
Yeah, you don't want to certainly don't want to do that. But I do, like a friend of mine who's a runner, like she battled it and just had to stop running for a while to let it finally heal. She didn't have to have surgery, but kind of if you do have an issue there, is it usually surgery, or can it heal on itself with some rest?
Every once in a while it can heal on its own, but in an acute type of tear, particularly in athletes, it usually requires surgery to go in and repair the meniscus.
And again, like everything else, I would guess prevented strength, stretching, like that type.
Right, strength and stretching, always core. We talk about that all the time, but really protecting your knee and getting all the muscles strong enough to help with the twisting and loading of the knee.
Just doing some of the exercises, workouts that I like. Balance is like something that I seem to struggle with, as we just saw here.
Yeah.
But your core helps with balance, helps you be able to have better balance. I would think that just another benefit there. Athletes better balance and not getting in that position where it could be an acute injury, right?
Not putting your knee in a vulnerable position. So the core stability and balance is very important.
Where besides acute injury, where else do you see what do they do when they come in to see that they've hurt their meniscus?
Well, I've seen some that stepped in a hole. They fall and twist and loads the knee. I've seen anything from everyday activities, stepping off the curb can do it. So there's a lot of different ways that you can twist your knee other than sports. But sports, of course, is where it's real common.
Yeah, and is it a long-term recovery?
No, not usually. It can be anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks, depending on what the treatment and how bad the tear is, like anything else.
Yeah. So again, strengthen your core, strengthen the muscles around your knee to try to eliminate that, right?
That's right.
All right, Dr. Chris Patton with us here as we get ready for our matchup here tonight on Friday Night Rivals. Blount taking on McGill-Toolen. Again, we have not seen the Leopards this year. We're excited to see them. We've only seen McGill-Toolen once, so looking forward to seeing Ernest Hill's team as well. We'll come back and talk more about the matchup tonight right here on Friday Night Rivals, our pregame show from AOC Sports. More comes up. fun here on, we record the show on Wednesday night. You're watching on Friday night before our matchup tonight here on Friday Night Rivals. We're at AOC Sports, and head coach Ernest Hill of the McGill-Toolen Yellow Jackets here with us, and Jordan Mosley, wide receiver from the Yellow Jackets here as well. So, Coach, we saw your team, your first game against Saraland. That was a tough matchup. Saraland scored 42. Since then, in the following 5 weeks, your team's given up 15 points total, 3 shutouts along the way. So your team playing much better than since we saw you in week 1, it seems.
Well, it has something to do with that's Jaden Mosley.
Oh,
he's a safety for us. Everybody always get Jordan and Jaden.
Did I say Jordan?
Up.
You did.
Oh.
But it's okay.
We'll edit this out. Like, we won't even see this on Friday night, right? We'll edit this part out.
But a lot of leadership from Jaden and a few more guys on the defense that played a little last year. And, you know, we went back to the basic and took out some of the stuff that we was doing early in the year. And what we went back home. And they're doing a good job right now for us.
What was it? What were some of the things that you were maybe... What did you get exposed doing that maybe you thought, no, we don't need to try that anymore?
Well, you know, we had all that time out with COVID, and all my assistant coaches had all that time to Zoom calls with all these college coaches, and they want to look at this, want to look at that, and they was trying some stuff, and after that, it didn't work. And I said, after that ball game, I said, guys, let's go back home to what we know, and we've been okay ever since.
That's awesome.
It might have been just a kind of a bad matchup too.
You're
trying something new
matchup
against an experienced quarterback who was on that night against a team who was really rolling on all
team
cylinders.
whose strength is their outside, is their wide receivers, and that's what they do best. So you don't want to try new tricks on them.
No. But you know, we didn't play a great game that night, and they played a great game.
Sure.
And you know, our kids, we kind of needed that. To open their eyes and even open our coaches' eyes. And but I think I hope we're back on track now. But we'll see in a couple hours.
Yeah, got a big matchup with Blount here tonight. Jordan, as we'll got it.
Jaden.
See, why am I here tonight? Like, why am I here? Mr. Mosley, the starting safety that we have.
There you go.
So just talk about that maybe from after week 1 to how the defense has really turned it around. You've been dominant since then.
We just been competing. Coach said we ain't been competing enough. So since after that game, got with the team, got with the defense, said we're gonna have to compete more. And that's what we've been doing.
You know, and as an athlete, I mean, you can say, hey, you messed up on a play or you didn't read it right. But when you tell somebody we're not competing hard enough, I mean, that hits home for coaches and athletes. That's one thing you never want to hear or have to talk about. Right?
But you know, one thing we talk about is competing, and I thought in the past, since I've been there as a head coach and a defense coordinator. We did a lot of stuff in the summertime, of course, in the spring, but, you know, of course, that was taken away from us. And, you know, I asked the kids, you know, what's the difference between working hard and competing? And a lot of our kids thought it was the same exact thing. And, of course, we explained it to them and asked them, kids going to work hard regardless.
Sure.
You can make kids work hard, but you can't make them compete. And after we had that conversation, ever since that day, they've been competing. So, and that's the only thing we ask them to do. You know, win, lose, or draw. If they can walk off that field, and I can ask them that they compete, and they say, yeah, I'm happy about it.
It's always been a hallmark of McGill teams too.
Oh, for all the time. I mean, the energy level, their level of competition has always been off the charts, right? Jaden, when you saw the Blount tape, when you've seen a chance to see this team, what do you notice about them?
I mean, they have athletes all across the board. From wide receiver, running back, quarterback, even some of the old linemen can move. So we're just going to have to stop them all phases of the ball.
I think we're going to talk to one of them here coming up here real quick.
The season we saw your coach for your first game, we talked about just how challenging things had been from, you know, no off season, those things. Like, has it been feeling a little more normal over the past few weeks? Like, does it feel like things are kind of more back to normal as we're heading into now the last 3 weeks of the season?
Yeah, it's been getting back to normal, yeah. At first, at the 7-on-7 and stuff like that, it was weird, but we started getting back into it now, so.
Okay. We're good to go. We're good to go. We got a game tonight. We got a big region game, so we got a lot on the line tonight. This one, we have a cool night, thank the Lord.
Yes.
So now we're going to have a good football night. I think both these teams are set and ready to go.
It's going to be a challenge, and I know Coach Holly here have his guys ready. I know they'll be ready, and McGill had a good week of practice, and we're going to see where the corn falls.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no easy ones on Friday nights in 6A region ones, right?
No, it's not.
none of those. All right, so we are getting ready for our matchup here tonight. McGill-Toolen taking on Blount. We're on the campus of Blount tonight. Great place to see a high school football game. We're excited for this one here tonight. When we come back, we'll talk about the Blount side of the equation. Again, they had the first 3 games canceled because of COVID, and now they're starting to round into form as they head down the home stretch and get ready to look at the postseason as well. More from our pregame show here at AOC Sports for Friday Night Rivals coming up right after this. Another week of Friday Night Rivals here on UTV 44. Our matchup tonight, the Blount Leopards playing host to the McGill-Toolen Yellow Jackets, and it's rare that we get to this late in the season and we haven't seen the Blount Leopards yet.
No, and a lot of that had to do with, well, COVID, you know, and we've had to deal with it. They've certainly had to deal with it, and we can talk to Lev Holly here in a moment how he thinks it's affected them. But the point is now they're raring to go. They almost got Spanish Fort. They would have put them in great position in the region. But tight game last week for you, Coach Holly. And so here we go. Here comes McGill.
Yeah. Another week in Region 1. But, you know, a lot of respect for Coach Hill and the job that he does. And, you know, we know he'll have them ready to go. You know, they're a different team than they first lost. So, you know, as far as Blount, you know, just trying to, you know, just rebound and, you know, hope we don't have a hangover because the kids laid it on the line of the night. You know, that's all you can ask for.
You know, so one of the great things about sports is it teaches athletes today like to deal with adversity, because no matter, we're going to have adversity somewhere in a season, in a game, in your career, whatever. But I mean, just think about after, like, it would have been very easy, I think, for a coach, a school, to maybe even lose their team, to go basically a month without being able to get on the field, to get out there, and because that's what you do all the hard work for, is to get out there and play on Friday night. But to keep it all together, I mean, that in itself is an accomplishment, Coach.
It was tough, but you know, we have resilient kids, great parents, you know, and just, you know, things that had to be done, decisions had to be made. Was it tough? Yes. Did our kids understand it at the time? No, they didn't. But, you know, biggest thing we talk about every day, you know, and they'll tell you, I ask them, you know, what's the main thing, and that's safety. So we just happened to be in one of those deals that's something that we couldn't control. But for the main part, they handled it well, they practiced well, and they stayed with their mind. Now, did we miss out on game reps? We did. And I think it showed, you know, versus Saraland. You know, so we just started to kind of hit a stride right now. And I really like where we are. I think we're ready to hit a stride, and if we're going to try to make a run, then hey, you know, now's the time, especially with a good team like McGill coming in.
Especially with a good player like Connor Howard. Talk about the young guy you brought with you tonight.
Man, he's, you know, he's just a kid that every coach would love to coach. First off, he's a great person, have a great family background, academically sound. He's in the top 10 at Blount. You know, very involved in the community. You know, and just a kid who's going to stand out whatever he does, and I would not be surprised one day to see him a doctor, lawyer, engineer, something of that nature.
So how tough was it, and you know, what did you do to help as a leader to kind of keep everybody focused to get to the point where, okay, boy, we finally get to start playing some games and having some fun on Friday nights here?
Well, it was difficult because, you know, everybody wants to play, and that's what we've been working for all spring, all summer, to play. So it was difficult, but, you know, we all wanted to play so bad. So it really wasn't, you didn't have to say much because everybody wanted to play so bad.
So you got a chance to, you almost beat Spanish Fort last week.
Right.
We saw them against Saraland. We know how good they are. Now you got McGill coming in. They haven't given up many points since week 1. What do you see, and what are you preparing for with McGill?
Well, we know McGill is a good team. I mean, all of the teams in our region are good teams. We're a great team, so it's going to be good. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be interesting. We're going to battle, and they're going to battle, and that's just part of that's what Blount does. We're going to play Blount football, and we're going to be good.
You know, Connor, we ask Coach a lot about the players that he brings in. We do it each week. But, you know, since we've got to know Coach Holly, think the world of him and the leadership and the passion he has for the kids. I mean, what do you get from Coach besides football? Because I know as much as he loves to coach football, he loves teaching kids and inspiring kids and young men to grow up in great things. What else besides from football do you get from this guy here?
That's a really great question, because one of the main things he always preaches to us is bigger than football. And he truly believes that, and that's something that he's always tried to instill in us, and just, you know, it's always bigger than football. So he's a great person to be under. I wouldn't rather have it any other way.
That's awesome. We go on about the stories that I've had a chance to witness, and you as well. But we've got two really class coaches tonight, two really good programs. There's no telling the product we're going to see on the field tonight, because these teams are ready to go. And
Coach, you mentioned a little bit. It's you know, now is the time you do want to be hitting that stride and peaking as you're starting to look down the road and playoffs and those things. But you know, this is when you want to be peaking, and it certainly feels like your team is on that upward swing right now.
Well, I think the one thing that, you know, we've been preaching is that, you know, every week is a grind. You know, when you take last week, and there's a lot of positives came out last week, which we did take a loss, but I thought it was a lot of wins that we got on the other side of it too, especially coming into this week. Same kind of game we expect. We know defensive-wise, Coach Hill is one of the best defensive minds in the state of Alabama. And he has playmakers, you know, and they're going to put him in position. And there's going to be some time, like I told my kids, that you just got to strap up. You know, Coach Hill talked about competing. And you got to be able to dominate that guy in front of you. So there's going to be some times we're going to win some battles, we're going to lose some. But, you know, I think at the end of the day, it's about execution. It's about who's going to make the less mistakes. And at the end of the day, it's going to be about who's going to have that desire that when it's on the line and you got to get a 4th and 1, and you got to stop on a 4th and 1. And that's what it's going to come down to, because I have no doubt, you know, that they'll be ready to go, you know, but I think at the same time we'll be ready also. We've had a really great week, you know, of scaling back some things, and, you know, it ain't going to be nothing fancy. It ain't nothing new. It's just a matter of, hey, who's going to make the plays when it counts.
Kind of sounds exactly what Coach Hill was talking about with the defense. Like, all right, we're going to go back to doing what's made me
going back home.
Made me be revered as one of the greatest defensive minds down here. And one thing I bet it comes right down to the wire too. I bet it
my
comes
guess.
right down to the wire here tonight. Great having you here, Connor. It was great to meet you, Coach. Stick around. Last segment comes up as we get ready, about 12 minutes away from kickoff here tonight on Friday Night Rivals. It is Blount and McGill 6A Region 1 matchup. Big battle. We can't wait to bring it to you. Coming up in just a few minutes. Rivals here on UTV 44. Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, Coach Ernest Hill, Lev Holly here with us. Blount Leopards, McGill-Toolen. We have so many favorite parts of what we do getting into this, but meeting the kids on the show, I mean, it's way up there.
It really is, because again, you know, these kids, they take those helmets off, and they're just like your children. They're like your kids too, and they're out there somewhat for our entertainment on Friday nights, but it's for their good too, because they get to compete and they get to show their thing. But the fact is, the point is that they are students, they are kids, and we need to support them and encourage them.
Yeah, we forget they're on the field. They look like men.
Well, Connor does.
Yeah, and we forget they're sometimes just kids. All right, Coach, you have not been here yet, so our new to you segment at the end of the it's like it, love it, or steer clear of it. So it's
I don't know what was wrong with Brennan or Brent out there.
Yes, so tis the season now. Pumpkin spice anything.
Still clear of it.
Clear. It's okay.
So you like it. Steer clear of it. I can't stand it. Oh, not a chance. All right. As Halloween approaches, dark chocolate. I'm not talking milk chocolate. I'm talking dark chocolate.
Stay away from it.
Brent out.
Still clear of it.
Oh, I could eat it like
Really?
Oh, the darker the better. Bitter, like it's crazy. All right. And I want you to think back about the first time you were on, sir. Mm-hmm. Bears getting 1.5 at the Panthers this week. The 4-1 Chicago Bears getting a 1.5 on the road against the Panthers.
I like it. Love it.
Love it, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I might have to steer clear of that. But, you know, my new Bears Nikes are, that if maybe you follow along with me, you'd have a little more money in the shoe department as we've been doing, Dan Brennan. Georgia getting 6 against Bama.
Like it.
I love it.
Steer clear of it?
Steer clear of it.
Steer clear of it?
He's not betting on the mailman, Stetson.
All right. Over 56.5 points total in that game. Doesn't like that either.
No.
I like that.
I don't like that one.
Ooh, defense gonna be Coach Saban, and hopefully he's We just got news before we started this. When he's a home favorite by 7 points or less, he's 0-4-1. Just saying, doesn't happen very often. I'm just saying that's kind of how it goes. Auburn laying the field goal at South Carolina.
I don't like it.
I don't know about that one. No.
Everybody says we're going to steer clear.
Steer clear of it.
Steer clear of it. Nobody likes any of that. All right, so big matchup here tonight on UTV 44, Region 1 battle game. We can't wait to see. I think we won't make them say it, but I think two teams that might mirror each other in a lot of ways tonight.
Yeah, I think so, because you're going to see a couple of teams that are very motivated. There's teams that, are gearing up this time of the season. They know each other very well. The kids know each other in many instances, so it's going to be fun.
All right, we can't wait. Region 1, always a big battle on Friday night. We got it here for you coming up this evening. Kickoff just about 6 minutes away here. So Dan and I'll head up to the booth. Thank you, Coach Holly. Thank you, Coach Hill, for joining us here on Friday Night Rivals, our pregame show from AOC. Kickoff coming up next. It's Blount taking on McGill-Toolen right here on UTV 44.